It's our 200th show and we couldn't be prouder of how far we've come. Over the years, we've had some amazing personalities in various fields. Industry leaders, activists, CEOs, MDs, entrepreneurs, change makers, trailblazers, creatives, masters of their craft and pioneers in their fields. We've spoken to over 600 people whose ideas have shaped the world we live in, and it is they who make this show the grand slam it is today. And that includes our long-standing partners, Srilanka Life from the very inception in 2020, CDB for being with us for over 2 years, and now the Daily Morning for adding that oomph by putting us in print. Welcome to Kaleidoscope, where we are positive, daring, different and celebrating International Women's Day with some great women on the show. Ahead on the show, we have some amazing women discussing burnout, hiring of women into the workplace and a legend in our midst. Want more of the show? Don't forget to subscribe, follow and like us. Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. So let's have a look at the week that was on CDB Snapshot. Inflation decreases to 5.9% in February from January's 6.4%. Sri Lanka's merchandise trade deficit widens to $514 million in January from last January's $445 million. Tourist arrivals hit a post-COVID all-time high with over 218,000 vacationers in February alone. China opens a sea of books, a library with over 1.2 million books to browse through. And some gender triumphs for International Women's Day. This year's Olympics will have an equal number of men and women athletes and the same number of events for all. France becomes the world's first country to enshrine abortion rights in its constitution. Charlotte Tilbury becomes the first female-founded brand to sponsor the F1 Academy.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Life News Capsule. As we celebrate Women's Day, we know that gender equality has been at the forefront of discussion for decades. While women comprise 47.7% of the global workforce, only 27.1% of women are in leadership roles in the corporate sector. And work-life balance causes conflict for 72% of women at work. Tradition and modernity go head-to-head in today's landscape, but what's different for women at work? Executive Director and Chief Human Resource Officer at DEMO gave me some insights. With your insights into hiring people into the business, are there any interesting trends that you have been seeing across the board?
Over the years, I have seen more women joining the workforce. Though it is not very significant, I see more women taking up STEM-related jobs, engineering and technical jobs, and even into analytics and IT. I could say that there's a positive increase in women participating in generally in the workforce and also in STEM-related jobs.
So looking at it from the other side, what are the obstacles women face in actually going into full-time careers?
Caregiving responsibilities is one of the most significant because of the norm of the society. Other thing is the workplaces not having women-friendly policies. Maybe perception about discrimination against gender. The childcare facilities are very expensive. So those are some reasons among many others that why women would not get into the workforce.
So in 2020, Sri Lanka was number 82 among 153 countries when it came to wage equality. Has this sort of improved, because studies show that 30% of the women still are subjected to an inequality when it comes to wages. Has there been any improvement in this area?
Certain industries and in certain countries, they have seen certain amount of progress. How they have achieved that is through mandatory legislation, corporate policies across certain industries, and also by conducting wage audits. So I believe that this is a three-way process where the governments, the corporates and the society has to come together and solve this problem.
What are the misconceptions that employers have when it comes to hiring women with families?
Employers may think that women with families have less commitment, they are less skilled, they may be perceived as less reliable, and also many employers may believe, due to the unconscious bias, that they are not interested in progressing in their careers.
Dilrukshi, are corporate workplaces open to gender inclusive hiring, or is it now gender blind hiring?
Today, the concept that we believe in is equity. So what equity means is differences. So inclusiveness is all about understanding differences and be more sensitive to those differences. So in that case, I would advocate having both, a combination of both of these.
And now for a quick look at the markets today. The Colombo Stock Exchange brought positive news this week, with the average daily turnover finally moving above 1 billion rupees and the All-Share Price Index moving up by 1.5%. Oil prices moved down to $82 per barrel on news of a higher than expected inventory build-up in the US. Gold prices moved above $2,100 per ounce to a one-year high, driven by increased expectations of a June interest rate cut by the US Federal Reserve. Ever wished you could press a button and get a pizza out of a machine? In Chandigarh, India, this wish has become a reality with its first ever pizza ATM. It's Europe's biggest fire festival where people celebrate Norse heritage. Last year, the 142-year ban on women taking part in the procession was lifted. March is International Women's Month and we celebrate women. Yes, we do believe we are superwomen, but there's always the danger that expectations are way too high and keeping up the momentum can be tough. Burnout is one of the less talked of issues which we like to focus on Let's Talk today. In 2022, it was found that 25% of employees experienced burnout symptoms, and more recent studies say that 52% of all workers could be feeling burnt out at work. 1/3 of women in work reportedly suffer from burnout as opposed to 25% of men in the workforce. 69% of women cited work-life balance and mental well-being as a top reason for taking on a job. Sharing a very personal experience with me today is the Head of Secretariat of the American Chamber of Commerce, Rai Raymond. You are a mother, a daughter and a wife in a very complex family environment. How did you balance it all and how did it all lead you? Where did it lead you?
Actually, to me, I became a mother when I was probably 8 years old because I come from a single parent family, and as my mom was out working and kind of, putting the food on the table, it became my role to be mom to my 3 siblings who were very young at the time. I started working when I was 14. So it's been a long journey for me in motherhood, as a career, as a sibling. I've survived abuse in various forms, and throughout that journey what I realized is I kind of used the women in my life. My grandmother is definitely one of them, and as examples, using them as examples of strength. I always had this, I can survive this, I can do this. You keep pushing yourself over and over again because sometimes you have no choice but to push yourself. Unfortunately, this at some point resulted ultimately in a burnout situation. which came last year. I had what's known as a stress-induced memory impairment situation. So yes, it was challenging. I'm still coming out of it. There's still kind of a loss of memory in certain areas. My life is very fragmented at the moment, and yet I have to still balance all these various challenges and situations.
How did you figure out you were having a burnout, or did it just come slap bang on you?
Looking back, I realized that there were little signs that maybe I was not taking seriously. I kept feeling very emotionless, not even tired. I think it goes beyond tired. It was just too tired to feel tired, if that makes sense. I use crystals. I believe in energies and auras, and I had an aura reading done, and when I was going in for it, we were having a conversation. I said, I just feel empty. I'm perfectly fine. I can get on with my day. I don't feel depressed. It's nothing like that. It's just that I feel blah. Innang wale innawa. No, literally that was the word I used. And she did the aura reading, and in fact she told me, she said, look, your problem is that your energy is down to like 20%. I don't know how you're even surviving. And I could physically feel that. But did I know it was burnout? No. When it hit me, it did literally hit me slap bang. There was a high stress incident with my kids.
What do you need to do to be prepared for that?
See the signs and start accepting for yourself, as well as start telling people around you that doing your best is enough. You don't have to always put out the fire. If necessary, let the house burn.
If you were to give women a word of advice on finding yourself and having some me time, what would you say?
Even making time for yourself, making time for yoga is an added stress, right? So I think the advice I would give is look into your heart and understand that you are being the best that you can be. Stop pushing yourself to be superwoman. Stop pushing yourself to be superhuman. Stop treating yourself like this rubber band and pushing yourself to expand just because you can. Because eventually the rubber is going to give out and you're going to break. Conserve that so that you can do it when you need to, as opposed to doing it all the time, every time.
So superwoman we may be, but we need to take care of ourselves as well.
Absolutely. I think that's what makes us superwomen, if we take care of ourselves.
Thank you, Rai. With International Women's Day being celebrated on Kaleidoscope, we celebrate a woman who is a legend in her creative prowess. Today on Life in 60, we are at the Anti Hotel where Mary went dancing on the hills where the fireflies glow. At least, that's what the Stereophonics mentioned in their hit song, Madam Helga, which they wrote after spending a few nights at Helgas Folly. And Booker Prize winner Shehan Karunatilaka was also inspired by Helgas Folly. You may recognize some in the 7 Moons of Mali Almeida at Helgas Folly. Helga de Silva Blow Pereira is the matriarch of this masterpiece that you must visit if you ever are in Kandy. Helgas Folly is at the same time like everything and nothing you've ever seen before. This whimsical masterpiece of design and eccentricity is Helga's vision, who calls her hotel a Sri Lankan's home and a grown-up's nursery. As outrageously interesting as Helgas Folly is, its owner, Helga, was a model for Dior at 17. Helga loves to mix pedigrees, as she puts it, which is why we find priceless ornaments and cheap toys on the same table, in spaces decorated with newspaper clippings, antiques, written notes and painted murals. And there's memorabilia everywhere. Family, friends and celebrities, most of who have made international headlines. Guests have called it insane, creepy, awesome and fascinating. And the hotel aims to inspire you to take life less seriously. When it comes to describing Helga's Folly, perhaps author Karl Muller said it best when he mused that the gods of music, art and drama have created the impossible. Helga remains unstoppable, extraordinary, exceptional, with a little bit of quirky. We are in awe of the strength of the women we know and the women around us. Happy Women's Day, and we'll see you next week.